Good evening and welcome to TC Network. I am Tingni Tim Hoki bringing you today's news. Today's top headlines include KSO General Headquarters challenged the authenticity of N. Biren's voice clip propagating violence against the cookies. KOTU demands investigation into audio leak in Manipur. Congress walks out of Manipur Assembly boycott session. News in details. The Kuki Students Organization issued a press release refuting the Manipur government's clarification over a voice clip of the chief minister that is doing wrong in social medias about annihilation of the Kuki-Zo tribe. In this regard, the KSO General Headquarters state that the government of Manipur has issued a press statement dismissing the recently circulated audio clip of Chief Minister Biren Singh as doctor and fake. This response is both predictable and deeply irresponsible. However, the contradiction of the Directorate of Information and Public Relations, Government of Manipur can be highlighted in the fact that the government of Manipur is more focused on finding the source of the viral audio clip rather than its authenticity. It is an attempt to evade accountability and undermine the seriousness of facts revealed in the audio. The release further said, claims made by the government of Manipur are baseless for the following reasons. First, authenticity of the audio clip. KSO has verified the source of the audio clip, which is credible, reliable, and beyond doubt. The authenticity of the recording can be corroborated through advanced acoustic analysis and forensic audio analysis. We challenge the government of Manipur to allow an independent third-party investigation into the recording's authenticity if the government is serious on calling the viral video as doctor. Second, content of the recording. The audio clip contains specific and detailed admissions by Biren Singh regarding his long-term plans to incite violence against the Kuki-Zo people. The level of detail and context provided in the recording is not something that can be easily fabricated or dismissed as a mere attempt to incite communal violence. Third, pattern of behavior. The actions described in the audio recording align with the observed and documented patterns of violence and human rights violations in Manipur. These are not isolated incidents but part of a broader, systematic campaign against the Kuki-Zo people. Fourth, government's evasion of accountability. By dismissing the recording as doctor, the government of Manipur is avoiding responsibility for investigating and addressing the serious allegations against Biren Singh. This raises questions about their commitment to justice and transparency. Fifth, misplaced focus of Manipur police. Instead of verifying the authenticity of the audio clip, Manipur police are more focused on investigating the source of the audio clip. This misplaced priority indicates an attempt to suppress the truth rather than seeking justice. 6. Public right to know. The people of Manipur and India have the right to know the truth about the violence and human rights abuses perpetrated against the Kuki-Zo people. Attempt to silence these revelations by labeling them as doctor only fuels further mistrust and hatred. Demands for immediate action, immediate accountability and justice. Immediate steps must be taken to hold Biren Singh and other involved individuals accountable for their actions. This includes criminal investigations and appropriate legal actions. The KSO General Headquarters will continue to fight for the truth and justice for the Kuki-Zo people. We urge the media, human rights organizations, and the international community to take note of this situation and support our call for a thorough and independent investigation. Biren Singh, the Chief Minister of Manipur, has planned and sponsored the ethnic cleansing of the Kuki-Zo people in Manipur since May 3, 2023, and this violence continues to this day. The Kuki-Zo people's demand for a separate administration must be addressed by the government of India. Separate administration is the only solution to stop the continuous attacks on the lives and properties of the Kuki-Zo people by the Biren Singh-led government in Manipur and Meitei fundamentalists. The KSO General Headquarters would like to state that The peace initiation mentioned in the press release by Directorate of Information and Public Relations is baseless, and the organization does not have any knowledge in this regard. And also, because of the audio viral of the CM last night on social media, there has been an attack at Poutakay yesterday evening by the Meitei radicals. The Committee on Tribal Unity has expressed deep concern following the release of an audio recording allegedly featuring Manipur's Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, admitting to his involvement in the ongoing ethnic conflict in the state. The audio has sparked outrage, with accusations that Singh has not only failed to resolve the unrest, but has also played a significant role in escalating the violence. In a press statement issued on August 8, 2024, the committee condemned the chief minister, accusing him of being the architect behind what they described as a genocide against the minority Kuki-Zo community. The committee statement claims that Singh has previously mistreated his constituents who called for peace and a return to normalcy in the region. The mastermind of this genocide against the minority Kuki-Zo community has finally surfaced, the statement read, condemning Singh's alleged actions. For humanity and decency to prevail in the 700 square miles of Manipur, it is imperative that the public in the valley reject leaders who employed autocracy and fascism as political discourse and who propagate hegemonic and misogynistic ideologies. The committee also criticized the Manipur government's Information and Publicity Department for its response to the leaked audio. The department had labeled the recording as Dr. Audio aimed at derailing the peace process, a claim the committee described as shameful and farcical. In light of these allegations, the Committee on Tribal Unity has called for a thorough investigation by national agencies demanding that N. Biren Singh be. The committee emphasized the importance of upholding the integrity of the Chief Minister office and ensuring accountability for any misuse of executive power. The situation in Manipur remains tense, and this latest development has intensified calls for transparency and justice in the state's handling of ethnic tensions. The Congress Party has walked out of the Manipur Legislative Assembly and decided to boycott the remaining session on August 9. Speaking to the media, Congress leader Okram Ibobi-Singh stated that all 5 Congress MLAs left the ongoing 6th session. The walkout was in protest against the rejection of a private member's resolution by the Speaker. The resolution sought a thorough discussion on the ongoing crisis in Manipur, which has persisted for nearly 15 months. Ibobi-Singh emphasized the need for a proper discussion to find a solution and take concrete steps to address the issue. Our private member resolutions moved to discuss on present crisis were rejected by the Speaker. Since the beginning of the Assembly, we have been suggesting to converse thoroughly on the Manipur crisis. Yet the Speaker is rejecting the private member resolution, so there is no point in attending the House and we boycott the session, said Ibobi-Singh. The other Congress MLAs involved are Kaisam Megha Chandra, Okram Surja Kumar, K. Ranjit Singh, and Thokchom Lokeswar Singh. In a dramatic escalation of tensions over the distribution of essential medical supplies, the Chemists and Druggists Association of Kangpokpi District launched a counter-blockade today on National Highway 2. This decisive action comes in response to an alleged ongoing blockade by valley-based organizations, which the association claims has restricted the flow of pharmaceutical supplies, including life-saving drugs, to Kangpokpi District since May 3, 2023. Earlier, on July 31, the association issued a stern warning threatening to impose a counter-blockade if the impediments to pharmaceutical transport were not lifted. Despite the warning, the association alleged that the unlawful blockade persisted, forcing their hand to take direct actions. Volunteers from the Chemists and Druggists Association set up a checkpoint at Bungmol village in the Champai subdivision along National Highway 2. They intercepted 2 trucks en route to Imphal, seized substantial quantities of pharmaceutical supplies, including crucial life-saving medicines. The General Secretary of the Chemists and Druggists Association, David, said the unlawful blockade of pharmaceutical supplies and life-saving drugs by certain valley-based organizations caused severe shortages in Kangpokpi district, putting countless lives at risk. Our counter-blockade is a necessary measure to ensure that essential medicines reach the Kangpokpi district. Meanwhile, in a concerted effort to address the ongoing blockade of pharmaceutical supplies, the Kangpokpi District Administration convened a crucial meeting with representatives from the Chemists and Druggists Association, Kangpokpi District, at the Deputy Commissioner's office later this afternoon. According to the association, the meeting, which lasted nearly 3 hours, was attended by the Deputy Commissioner and the Superintendent of Police of Kangpokpi. During the discussion, both officials assured the association that they would take the necessary steps to ensure the uninterrupted delivery of pharmaceutical supplies and life-saving drugs to the district. They also committed to providing all the necessary help for the establishment of stockists in Kangpokpi within a week. Following these assurances from the district authorities, the Chemists and Druggists Association agreed to release the seized pharmaceutical supplies and life-saving drugs that were originally bound for the valley. Today at 8:30 a.m., the Indian National Youth Congress Churachandpur district celebrates its 64th Foundation Day at New Lamka IYC district office. The program was attended by District Youth Congress leaders, DCC, and members from outside the district. The program started with unveiling of the Congress flag by Sarifar Rahman, General Secretary IYC Northeast in charge. The leader stood in Savdan position during the unfurling of the flag, followed by singing of the national anthem. Sarifar Rahman in her speech says, brief about the achievement of the Congress party so far. It defines the Congress Party as a national political party that fights for the cause of all citizens without discrimination based on caste, creed, gender, and religion. The Congress also fights for women empowerment, upliftment of the farmers, and also fight for the cause of the poverty-stricken section of the country, she added. She also says that the 64th Foundation Day is celebrated under the theme Greener Future, and that the aim of this 64th Foundation Day is to plant 15 lakh tree saplings all over the country, and in connection to that, 500 tree saplings were planted in various locations of the district. The Indian Youth Congress led this tree sapling plantation all over the country. The IYC leaders presented during the program were Sarifar Rahman, IYC in charge Northeast, Tasjuddin Shah, Vice President MPYCC, Qasim, General Secretary ADM MPYCC, and Jong Beak, President District Congress Committee Churachandpur respectively. Strongly denouncing the act of burning the print material in the Kangpokpi district by unknown assailants, the Manipur Media Fraternity stays in protest and suspended 1 day of duty. As per India Today Northeast, the fraternity termed the unfortunate incident as an act to silence the state media, which is a complete violation of freedom of speech, of rights and expression. Addressing to media at the sidelines of the protest, Vice President of the All Manipur Working Journalists Union, AMWJU, Ras Nongthombam, said that the protest demonstration is being held to condemn the arson of print materials in Kangpokpi district on August 7 during broad daylight. He continued and termed the incident as a selective targeted attack to suppress and silence the voice of the media. The authority concerned should take the incident very seriously, as targeting to media amounts to an attack on democracy. He also expressed his resentment over the unfortunate despite stationing security forces on national highways. Ras also said that the media fraternity has been urging for smooth transportation of print material along National Highway 2 and 37 since the onset of the crisis. For such a long time, no such incident of hijack or attack onto truck loaded with print materials happened. But all of a sudden, arson of print materials in Kangpokpi district by unknown miscreants, probably armed miscreants, was carried out on August 7. The concerned authority, particularly the security advisor of Manipur, should take strict action against the perpetrators of the crime. The authority concerned should give adequate compensation for burned materials and provide adequate security measures to prevent disturbance along national highways. pointing to the post-mortem reports of 3 men who were branded militants and killed while in Assam police custody last month. Their families have told the Guwahati High Court that they were tortured before being shot dead. The men, Joshua from Senbon village in Manipur's Firjol district and Lal Lungoi Mar and Lal Byakung Mar, both residents of Ke Bethel village in Assam's Kachar district, were killed on July 17. The police had claimed the 3 were Mar militants whom they had apprehended the previous day. Police claimed they took the men on a special operation against other militants on July 17, during which the 3 died in the crossfire. Their families had approached the court, alleging that the men were killed in a fake encounter. Appearing for the petitioners on Wednesday, senior advocate Colin Gonsalves said they were satisfied with the post-mortem report and that they would no longer seek a second autopsy, as had been demanded by the families earlier. However, presenting the counter to the state's affidavit, he raised several questions on the nature of injuries. The post-mortem reports, which the Indian Express has seen, mention multiple bruises apart from bullet injuries on the bodies of all 3 men. In the case of Lal Lungoi Mar, the report mentions a wound mark on the chest area, a wound mark in the left leg, a bruise in his private parts, and that bruise, can be found in many parts of the body. In the case of Joshua, the report mentions a bruise mark on the chest, a wound mark near left bum region, and wounds in many parts of the body. In case of Lal Byakung Mar, the report mentions a bruise-like mark on the right cheek, another in the left waist area, a cut mark in the right side of the bum area, and that bruise and wound marks can be seen in many parts. In the final opinion of the doctor, it states that Lal Lungoi had 11 injuries caused by bullets, but 1 caused by blunt force before his death. In Joshua's case, the opinion states that 16 injuries were caused by bullets and 6 were caused by blunt force impact before his death. In Lal Byakung Mar's case, there were 23 bullet injuries and 6 blunt force ones, the opinion states. Gonsalves pointed to these findings to allege that the men had been tortured before they were killed. Most importantly, see the findings on the private parts of all these deceased persons. The private parts are bruised, wound marks can be seen. If this is an encounter, you are dead with clean bullet entry and exit wounds. Here, there is a question of having bruise marks on private parts indicating torture, said Gonsalves. He also sought attention to the descriptions of the bullet injuries on all 3 deceased as having blackened, abraded, and inverted margins, which he alleges is a sign of being shot at a close range. While the petitioners sought the case to be registered and investigated by a DGP or senior police officer from outside Assam, an interim compensation of ₹20 lakh for each of the families, the Advocate General for the State of Assam sought time to file a detailed affidavit to respond to the allegations. The court directed that the affidavit be filed 1 day before the next hearing on September 10. The court also issued detailed instructions to enable the families of the 3 men to take their bodies from the morgue at Silchar Medical College and Hospital, where they have been lying for more than 3 weeks, and conduct their final rites. A catastrophic cloudburst occurred near the Sames and Bagi bridges on Wednesday night, washing away 45 people near Sri Khan in Himachal Pradesh. Rescue operations in the disaster-affected area are underway. Baljinder Singh, 14th Battalion Commandant, National Disaster Response Force (NDRF), said that the NDRF teams were sent well prepared to Himachal Pradesh this year to ensure no delay in the rescue operations. Speaking to ANI, Singh said, this year the NDRF teams were sent to remote locations in Himachal Pradesh to ensure there is no delay in the rescue operations. The Sames cloudburst that has taken place is a huge disaster. Further, he added that 13 bodies were recovered by Thursday morning. We have recovered 13 dead bodies as of now. 4 dead bodies were recovered earlier. 10 more people were missing, and we have found 9 bodies as of now. 1 person has still not been found. We will make sure the rescue operations are carried out properly, he said. Earlier on August 7, the IMD reported significant rainfall across the state, with Joginder Nagar in Mandi district experiencing the highest at 110 mm in 24 hours. Kuldeep Srivastava, head of IMD Himachal Pradesh, said Alerts were issued for various regions on Wednesday. We have recorded the highest rainfall at Joginder Nagar in Mandi district at 110 mm during the past 24 hours. It is heavy rainfall, and in Sirmaur district we have received heavy rainfall, Dr. Srivastava stated. In other parts of the state, there has been moderate rainfall. Nearly 75% of areas have received between 30 mm to 50 mm of rainfall in the past 24 hours, Srivastava told ANI. The IMD has issued an orange alert for the lower Himalayan districts of Bilaspur, Hamirpur, Kangra, Chamba and Mandi. In a troubling development, police in Uttar Pradesh, Bareilly have released sketches of 3 suspects in connection with a series of murders that plagued the region over the past 14 months. The murderers, which claimed the lives of 10 women, followed a disturbing and consistent pattern. Despite extensive efforts, authorities were unable to apprehend the perpetrator, who is believed to be a serial killer. The murders have created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty among local residents. Superintendent of Police South, Manoj Parikh, announced that the sketches were developed based on the investigation of previous murder cases in the Thana Sahi area and information gathered from local sources. The police hope that releasing these sketches will help generate leads and bring the killer to justice. He emphasized that any information provided about the suspects would be kept confidential. Residents are encouraged to contact the following numbers with any information related to the sketches. The most recent victim, 45-year-old Anita, was found murdered and discarded in a sugarcane field in Bujia Jagir village. She was strangled with a sari, similar to the pattern seen in previous murders. Anita had disappeared on July 2 after leaving her maternal home in Hirka village, and her body was discovered later. Her family was devastated to later receive news of her murder. The family filed a murder case in the incident. This murder mirrors a pattern observed in 9 similar cases from last year, where victims were strangled in deserted areas. Anita was strangled with a sari, further aligning with the method used in previous murders. The recurrence of this pattern has intensified the challenge for law enforcement as they continue to investigate the series of killings. Anita maintained an account at the Fatehganj West branch of her bank, where she also had money in fixed deposits. She typically visited the bank every few months for transactions. Initially, there was suspicion that Anita may have been targeted after withdrawing money from the bank. However, this theory was not substantiated during the investigation. Authorities are now considering the possibility that Anita's murder is linked to the serial killer. The police are actively exploring this lead to uncover the truth behind the crime. Last year, 9 women were killed in a similar pattern across the Sahi and Shishgarh police stations areas, and the bodies were often found near river banks. Kalavati from Sahi village was murdered on June 5, followed by Dhanvati, whose body was discovered on Sahi Road on June 19. Premvati was found in Anandpur, Sahi on June 30, and Kasuma's body was located in Khajura village on June 22. Later in 2023, Virvat's half-naked body was found in Jwalapur village on August 23, while a 60-year-old woman was murdered in Lakhimpur on October 31. Dular Devi, also 60, was killed in Kharsaina village on November 20, and Urmila, aged 55, was murdered in Jagdishpur on November 26. Each of these women was strangled, underscoring a disturbing and consistent pattern in the murders. The police had implemented extensive measures, including deploying about 300 officers for patrolling and monitoring various suspects. Despite these efforts, the murders ceased temporarily but resumed in 2024. Authorities are now examining whether the recent murder case was linked to the previous incidents. To address the situation, police teams in both plain clothes and uniforms are actively working on the case. They are conducting thoroughly checks of suspicious vehicles and monitoring barriers. In addition, police are urging residents to exercise increased caution and report any suspicious activity. The coordinated effort aims to uncover connections between the current and past incidents and bring those responsible to justice. Israel committed a costly strategic mistake with its killing of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran last week, Iran's acting foreign minister told AFP in an interview on Thursday. The act that the journalists carried out in Tehran was a strategic mistake because it will cost them gravely, Ali Bagheri said one day after attending an emergency session of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) called by Iran to discuss the killing. Although Israel has not commented on Haniyeh's death, Iran has vowed to retaliate, setting the region on edge. Bagheri accused Israel of wanting to expand tension, war and conflict to other countries, while asserting the Jewish state lacked the ability to fight Iran. The Zionists are in no position to start a war against the Islamic Republic of Iran, he said. They neither have the capacity nor the strength. The meeting on Wednesday in the Saudi coastal city of Jeddah of foreign ministers from the 57-member OIC produced a declaration holding Israel fully responsible for the heinous killing of Haniyeh, the leader of the Hamas terror group, who lived in Qatar and was a major player in talks to free the Israeli hostages held by Hamas and hold the war in the Gaza Strip. Despite mounting fears of an escalation in the region and calls for restraint from Washington, Bagheri told AFP that OIC members voiced support for Iranian retaliation. Those we have spoken to yesterday, whether in phone calls or during in-person meetings, all of them stressed the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to respond to the terrorist crime, he said. Western countries who claim they have asked Iran to restrict its response need to answer questions and are not in the position to advise the Islamic Republic of Iran. The war in Gaza began with Hamas' October 7 onslaught across southern Israel, in which the terror group slaughtered some 1,200 people and took 251 hostages. 111 hostages are still held in Gaza, including 39 the IDF determined have been killed. 2 civilians and the remains of 2 soldiers in Gaza held for over a decade are also being held hostage. Israel's military campaign in Gaza has killed at least 39,699 people, according to the Hamas-run Territories Health Ministry, which does not differentiate between civilians and fighters. The figures cannot be verified. Yahya Sinwar, the alleged mastermind of the October 7 attacks and the group's Gaza leader, was named head of Hamas Tuesday following Haniyeh's death. Analysts believe Sinwar has been both more reluctant to agree to a Gaza ceasefire and close to Tehran than Haniyeh. Bagheri hailed Sinwar's appointment on Thursday in a statement published by Iran's foreign ministry. This selection at the current critical moment brings hope, cohesion, authority, and victory for the Hamas movement, the heroic nation of Palestine and the edges of resistance, he said. The Nobel Peace Prize-winning economist Muhammad Yunus has been sworn in as the head of Bangladesh's interim government, 3 days after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was forced to resign and flee to neighboring India. Yunus, 84, took the oath during a ceremony at the presidential palace in the Dhaka on Thursday that was attended by political leaders, civil society leaders, generals and diplomats. I will uphold, support and protect the Constitution, Yunus said as he was administered the oath by President Muhammad Sahabuddin, adding that he will perform his duties sincerely. More than a dozen members of his cabinet, whose titles are advisors, not ministers, also took the oaths as the caretaker government will now seek to restore peace and prepare for new elections. They include Nahidi Islam and Asif Mahmood, top leaders of the Students Against Discrimination group, which led the weeks-long protest that ousted Hasina. Others include Tawhid Hossain, a former foreign secretary, and Hassan Arif, a former attorney general. Saida Rizwana Hassan, an award-winning environmental lawyer, and Asif Nasrul, a top law professor and writer, were also sworn in. Adilur Rahman Khan, a prominent human rights activist who was sentenced to 2 years in jail by Hasina's government, also took the oath as an advisor. No representatives of Hasina's Awami League party were present at the ceremony. Hasina quit on Monday after nationwide protests that began in July against a quota system for government jobs that critics said favored people with connections to her party. But the demonstrations soon grew into a bigger challenge for Hasina's 15-year rules as more than 300 people, including students, were killed during a spiraling violence. Yunus, who was awarded the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize for his work developing microcredit markets, was in the French capital for the 2024 Olympics when he was chosen for the interim role and returned home earlier on Thursday to tight security at the airport in Dhaka. In his first comments after his arrival, he said at a news briefing that his priority would be to restore order. Bangladesh is a family. We have to unite it, Yunus said while flanked by student leaders. It has immense possibility. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered his best wishes to Yunus, saying New Delhi was committed to working with neighboring Dhaka. My best wishes to Professor Muhammad Yunus on the assumption of his new responsibilities, Modi wrote on the social media platform X. India remains committed to working with Bangladesh to fulfill the shared aspirations of both our people for peace, security, and development. The United States also welcomed the new interim government in Bangladesh, saying it hoped to work together to advance democracy. We welcome Dr. Yunus' call for an end to the recent violence, and we stand ready to work with the interim government and Dr. Yunus as it charts a democratic future for the people of Bangladesh, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller told reporters. He said that the highest-ranking U.S. diplomat in Bangladesh, Helen LaFave, attended the inauguration ceremony and has been in touch with the interim government. The U.S. has a largely cooperative relationship with Hasina over her 15 years in power that had grown tense as she bristled over U.S. criticism on her record on democracy. A state of emergency had been declared in the Kursk region of Russia as a rear cross-border attack by Ukrainian troops continued on Wednesday. The acting regional governor, Alexei Smirnov, said the move was necessary to eliminate the consequences of enemy forces coming into the region. Russian officials said at least 5 civilians had been killed and 31 wounded, 6 of them children, since the start of the incursion. Ukraine has not officially commented, and the depth of the incursion remains unclear. On Tuesday morning, up to 1,000 Ukrainian troops, as well as 11 tanks and more than 20 armored combat vehicles, entered Russia near the town of Sudzha, Moscow said. Fighting reportedly took place in a number of villages throughout Tuesday, with local authorities urging residents to limit their movement and all public events cancelled. A number of air alerts were issued in Kursk, and footage posted online verified by the BBC showed fighter jets flying low over the region, with smoke rising from areas on the ground. Thousands of people were evacuated from border areas and doctors were being drafted in from other cities, Smirnov said. Ukrainian incursions into Russian territory have been extremely rare since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022. On Wednesday evening, Ukrainian MP Oleksiy Honcharenko said the Ukrainian army had established control over the Sudzha gas hub, a major gas facility involved in the transit of natural gas from Russia to the EU via Ukraine, which have continued despite the war. It is the only point of entry for Russian gas into the EU. Although the claim has not been verified by the BBC, Honcharenko's comment was the first confirmation of an incursion into Russian territory by a Ukrainian official. Honcharenko said on Facebook that while he did not know what the plan behind the incursion was, it would show Europeans and Americans that Russia can and needs to be attacked. Russia's military response to the incursion will be one of Andrei Belosov's first big leadership test as the country's new defense minister, as he replaced his long-serving predecessor, Sergei Shoigu, in May. Speaking to the BBC's news source, Honcharenko added that, from a military point of view, we are trying to take back the initiative. We are showing the world that the world should not be scared of escalation or the reaction of Putin. There is no reaction, he said, for the first time since the Second World War. Russian territory that is internationally recognized is occupied, and Putin did not turn to nukes and so on. He said the incursion would also force Russia to move troops to the region and hopefully decrease the number of attacks it can carry out in eastern Ukraine. In a lukewarm reaction, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the U.S. has no prior knowledge of the attack and that it planned to reach out to the Ukrainian military to learn more about their objective. Speaking on Wednesday, Ms. Jean-Pierre said Washington will continue to ensure Kyiv what it needs to defend themselves against Russia's aggression. Japan issued its first warning Thursday about the possibility of a long-feared mega quake after a powerful 7.1 magnitude temblor struck off its southern coast, sparking a tsunami advisory, but no immediate reports of serious damage or injuries. The earthquake occurred off the coast of Miyazaki Prefecture on the main island of Kyushu at 4:42 p.m. local time, 3:42 a.m. ET, at a depth of about 18 miles according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. 3 people were reported injured, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said, although he added that there had been no blackouts or damage to the water or communication systems reported in the region. Police in Miyazaki Prefecture said there had been 10 reports of damage. Hayashi urged residents to stay away from the coastline. Seismologists held an emergency meeting to analyze whether the quake had affected the nearby Nangai Trough, the source of past devastating earthquakes. The Meteorological Agency ultimately issued what it called a mega earthquake caution, assessing that the possibility of a large quake was relatively higher than usual, but not that one would definitely occur in the future. It urged the country's residents to practice increased vigilance for the next week. We ask all citizens to carefully check every new information issued by the government, reconfirm their daily earthquake preparedness, and be ready to evacuate immediately in the event of an earthquake, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida told a news briefing. Earlier, officials issued a tsunami advisory following Thursday morning's quake, warning residents to immediately leave coastal areas of Kochi and Miyazaki prefectures until the warnings is lifted. Advisories are issued when the waves are not expected to exceed 1 meter (3.3 feet). Tsunami waves of up to 1.6 feet were detected along parts of Kyushu's southern coast and the nearby island of Shikoku about a half hour after the quake struck. Japanese broadcaster NHK said Miyazaki Port had reported a surge of 20 inches. That said, most of the damages so far has been relatively light. Police in Miyazaki Prefecture said there have been some reports of landslides and some traffic lights have stopped working. NHK said some windows were broken at the prefecture's airport and that the runway had been temporarily closed for checks. Meanwhile, the neighboring Kagoshima Prefecture, concrete walls collapsed and a wooden house was damaged. One of the people injured across the 2 prefectures, 2 are reported to be older women, who were taken to hospital after falling, while another was a female factory worker struck in the back by a falling object. The Nuclear Regulation Authority said all 12 nuclear reactors of Kyushu and Shikoku remain safe. Earthquakes in areas with nuclear power plants have been a major concern since a massive 9.0 magnitude earthquake and ensuing tsunami triggered the Fukushima nuclear disaster in March 2011. Japan sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a line of seismic faults encircling the Pacific Ocean, and is one of the world's most earthquake-prone countries. A temblor there, January 1 in Japan's north-central region of Noto left more than 240 people dead.